Have you ever wondered how humans survived before they could make fire? It seems almost impossible. Today, fire cooks our food, keeps us warm, scares away predators, and even brings people together. Without it, a single cold night can feel unbearable. Yet for millions of years, our ancestors lived in a world where they had no way to create flames whenever they wanted. So how did they survive long enough to eventually become the species that mastered fire? To answer that question, we have to travel back nearly 2 million years to a world that looked very different from the one we know today. Vast grasslands stretched across Africa, forests covered the horizon, and dangerous predators roamed almost everywhere. Lions, saber-toothed cats, giant hyenas, and crocodiles all hunted for food. Humans were not the rulers of this world. They were simply another vulnerable animal trying to stay alive. Our ancestors didn't begin each day wondering how to build cities or invent tools. Their only goal was survival. Every sunrise meant finding enough food before something else found them first. Every sunset meant making it through another terrifying night. Without fire, nights were especially dangerous. Darkness reduced visibility, making it easier for predators to sneak close. Instead of relying on flames, early humans depended on safety in numbers. They slept in groups, keeping close together so that many pairs of eyes and ears could detect danger. Some scientists believe they may have taken turns staying lightly awake, much like certain animals do today. A sleeping group was far less vulnerable than a lone individual. Shelter also played an important role. Instead of building houses, our ancestors searched for natural protection. Caves, rocky overhangs, dense vegetation, and elevated areas helped reduce the chances of surprise attacks. These places weren't always comfortable, but comfort wasn't the goal. Survival was. Food presented another enormous challenge. Without fire, everything had to be eaten raw. Fruits, berries, nuts, seeds, insects, eggs, roots, and leaves made up a large part of the diet. When meat was available, it was often scavenged from animals already killed by predators. Rather than defeating lions in battle, early humans sometimes waited until predators finished eating, and then quickly collected whatever scraps remained before larger scavengers arrived. Eating raw meat came with risks. It was harder to chew, harder to digest, and more likely to contain harmful microbes. Raw roots and tubers also required powerful jaws and strong teeth. Fossils suggest that many early human relatives had larger teeth and more robust chewing muscles than modern humans. Their bodies were adapted for a world where cooking didn't exist, but this raises another mystery. If raw food is harder to digest, how did humans develop the large brains that require enormous amounts of energy? Many researchers believe that before humans controlled fire, they became increasingly skilled at choosing foods that delivered more nutrition. Marrow inside bones, brains from animal carcasses, shellfish along coastlines, and energy-rich nuts provided valuable calories. Stone tools allowed our ancestors to crack bones, slice meat, and process food into smaller pieces. Even without cooking, these tools made eating easier and improved access to nutrients. Survival wasn't just about finding food. Water was equally important. Rivers, lakes, and seasonal pools became lifelines, but drinking from these places carried its own dangers. Crocodiles lurked beneath the surface. Large predators often waited nearby. Early humans likely learned through generations of experience which water sources were safer and which places should be avoided at certain times of day. Weather was another relentless challenge. Without campfires or heated shelters, cold temperatures could become deadly. Scientists think early humans survived partly because Africa's climate was generally warmer than many regions humans would later colonize. They also relied on body heat by sleeping close together, sought shelter from wind, and remained physically active during colder periods. In many ways, choosing the right location mattered just as much as physical strength. One of humanity's greatest advantages wasn't speed or power, it was cooperation. Unlike many predators that hunted alone, humans shared information. They communicated danger, remembered safe paths, and learned from older members of the group. Knowledge became a survival tool. A child didn't need to discover every poisonous plant by trial and error if an experienced adult could teach them which berries to avoid. This ability to pass knowledge across generations gave humans a remarkable advantage. Each generation started where the previous one had ended instead of beginning from zero. Over thousands of years, this created a growing library of survival skills long before written language ever existed. At some point, our ancestors encountered fire in nature. Lightning strikes ignited forests, volcanoes sent lava across landscapes, wildfires swept through the dry grasslands. At first, fire was probably something to fear, but curiosity may have slowly replaced fear. After a wildfire passed, animals lay dead, and roasted plants became easier to eat. Burned landscapes attracted grazing animals, creating new hunting opportunities. Fire wasn't just destructive, it transformed the environment. For a long time, humans likely didn't know how to create fire themselves. Instead, they may have collected burning branches from natural fires and kept them alive for as long as possible. Maintaining an existing flame is far easier than creating one from nothing. A carefully protected fire could last for days, weeks, or even months if constantly fed. Eventually, perhaps around 1 million years ago, evidence begins to suggest that some human ancestors were regularly controlling fire. Burned bones, heated stone tools, and ancient hearths found at archaeological sites hint that fire had become more than a natural phenomenon. It had become part of everyday life. The impact was extraordinary. Cooking softened food, allowing the body to absorb more calories while spending less energy chewing and digesting. Warmth made colder climates accessible. Firelight extended waking hours after sunset. Smoke helped drive away insects. Predators became less likely to approach camps glowing with flames. Many scientists believe mastering fire didn't simply make humans more comfortable. It may have changed human evolution itself. Smaller teeth, reduced chewing muscles, larger brains, stronger social bonds, and eventually the spread of humans across nearly every environment on Earth may all be connected, at least in part, to the control of fire. Yet perhaps the most remarkable part of this story isn't what happened after humans mastered fire, it's what happened before. For countless generations, our ancestors survived using intelligence, cooperation, observation, and adaptation alone. They endured dangerous predators, harsh environments, raw diets, and uncertain nights without one of humanity's greatest inventions. The next time you light a stove, sit beside a campfire, or watch a candle flicker in the dark, remember that fire was never guaranteed to be ours. Before it became humanity's greatest ally, survival depended on something even more powerful: